Today we're building a mud brick farm using the create mod. I'll be doing this from scratch, so there are a few steps to get to the final product. First, we generate cobblestone and crush that into gravel. Then we combine gravel with dirt to make 4 coarse dirt. The coarse dirt can then be placed and plowed to turn it into regular dirt again. This basically turns the gravel we generated into dirt while we recycle some existing dirt constantly. The excess dirt then gets mixed with water to turn it into mud. We mix the mud with wheat to get packed mud. And finally, we combine 4 packed mud to make mud bricks. In this video, I'll be showing you how to build all of this and also how to enclose this farm in a nice structure. I'm Uberswe and this is build 25 of my 30-day create mod build challenge, where I do 30 different builds with each build taking no more than 1 real life day. And each build has to fit inside this 25 by 25 plot. I also make sure that my builds are survival friendly and work with the base create mod. There's no need to go looking for add-ons. These builds should work for older versions of create as well as the current 6.0 version, and most likely they'll keep working in future versions too. First, we need power, so I'm building this 4x4 area where we can place our water wheels. This needs to be 7 blocks tall. And then once we've built that, we're going to go down here into the middle and just place our water wheel just like so. So you can see that there's like a gap here. And we're going to put some large water wheels all the way up to here, and then we can just place a bucket of water here, and now that water is going to flow down and go on the side of all of these water wheels, so we should end up with about 3,000 stress units here. Then I'm just going to dig down here under the structure where the water wheels are, and right here we can connect our power. So I'm going to put a gearbox right here, and then I'm going to flip it so that it connects to the water wheel. From that, I'm going to place a shaft and just bring it out like so, and then we'll dig a hole all the way over here like that. And then here we're going to put an encased chain drive, and we can turn the rotation like this. And then I'm going to bring this shaft out, just 1, 2, 3, just like so. And then here we're going to place a clutch with a lever, and we can turn off the power by flipping this lever so we're not rotating everything as we're connecting it. Then I'm going to put a rotational speed controller right here, and we're going to place a large cog just like so. And then behind this large cog, we're going to place 1, 2, and 3 cogs just like this. Then here on the front, we can place another cog right here, and then we'll place a gearbox on that cog. Then next to that, we're going to place a stressometer so we can see how much stress our network has, as well as a speedometer so we can see how fast everything is going. And now we've kind of set up a control panel for our farm. So if you don't see the gauge information that I see here, then you need to equip some goggles. And these are the engineer's goggles from Create. Now, if we give this some speed, so we'll flip the switch, we can see that we're now going 16 RPM here, and we're using 2,560 SU. And we can actually go ahead and turn this up. So we can set this to like 256, for example. Now you'll see that the gauge is saying 256 RPM. It's very high, and it's still very low on the stress here. I'm going to go ahead and set this to 32 because that's kind of where we want our farm to be running later on. But for now, we can go ahead and turn this off. We'll begin by setting up our coarse dirt generation. So I'm going to place a mechanical crafter right on top of here, and another one right there. And then I'm going to place 2 more on top like so. And then I'm going to use the wrench and right click to flip these so that they go like that. Then here on the back, I'm going to go ahead and place 1 hopper here and 1 hopper here. And we're going to place a millstone here and another millstone right here, just like so. Then I'm going to go ahead and place a drill here, and we can use our wrench to remove this one. And then I'm going to place another drill on the opposite side, and we're going to flip that just like that. Then to give this some power, we're going to go ahead and pull a shaft out like this. And then we're going to put a gearbox like so and flip that so that it's going upwards. Then we're going to place a shaft here, a small cog right here to give this millstone power. And then we're going to place another shaft up here with an encased chain drive connected here with another encased chain drive right like so. And then we're going to have another cog here. Actually, I just realized I made a small mistake. We need to take this mechanical drill here and we need to place it one further out, just like so. And then we're going to place another hopper right here. And this hopper is going to feed into this millstone. And then anything that's processed by the millstone, which is going to be gravel in this case, that's going to go into this hopper, which is then going to feed into this mechanical crafter. And it's important that you're like looking at the crafter when you're placing these so that this little thing here goes into the crafter and not, you know, into another hopper or something else. Then to connect the drills, I'm going to go ahead and extend this encased chain drive here. And we're just going to use 2 gearboxes here and then rotate them so that they are connecting to the drill, just like so. And then on the other side, we're going to do the same thing. Just extend our encased chain drive here. And then we're going to place a gearbox right here. The rotation of the drill does not matter as long as they're just spinning. Now I'm going to go ahead and place some cobblestone here where the drills are drilling. This is just a placeholder that kind of helps with the mechanics of Crate 6.0. Because in 6.0, the blocks don't actually break, they just animate, which is like an optimization. In 5.0, they'll still break. Either way, this farm is going to work, so you don't have to worry about the version of Create. I'm going to place a glass block right here. You could use any block. You could use stone or any other block you want. You might want to be careful with wood because wood can catch on fire if you have fire tick on, but generally any block will work. And then I'm going to place a glass block here, and we're just kind of going to enclose this a little bit with glass. And it's important to place blocks under your drill here to prevent water and lava from flowing out. So I'm just kind of enclosing everything there. And then we're also going to enclose that like so. And same thing up here. We can actually get rid of some of these. We don't need all of them. And I can actually remove this one for now. So now on our drills, if you place water like right on the front of the drill here, you can see I kind of have a hitbox here. So if you just look at the front of the drill and you place water, you're going to waterline the drill. It's going to count as a water block when we use lava for cobblestone generation. And we can do the same thing on this drill where we're just going to place some water right there. And then we can place a block on top, just like so. And now we can place lava right here. This setup should be working, and we can actually go ahead and flip this lever here to see that it's working. So I guess as you can see, our cobblestone is actually breaking here, and hopefully we should have some gravel coming into our mechanical crafter, and yes we do. So our millstones are millstoning and our drills are drilling. So everything so far is working, but now we need to get some dirt into this mechanical crafter in order to make coarse dirt. Okay, to feed this, we're going to use some belts. So I'm going to take one shaft and go out like this. And then we're going to need a second shaft right here. And then we're going to place a mechanical belt across like this. And even in survival mode, you can use a mechanical belt in your hand to extend the belt like this. And we're going to extend that 4 blocks out from where we have this hole right here. And this will be where we're generating our dirt later on. Then on this side, I'm going to extend this 1. However, that's going to move our shaft here. So we're going to have to place another shaft into the belt just like so by right clicking. Then over here, I'm going to place 1 shaft here and 1 shaft here. And then we're going to connect our belt there and then right click to extend 1. On the back here, we're going to place a funnel just like so. Then to connect the power between these 2 belts, we're just going to place a gearbox right there. Now, when dirt is produced, it's going to be coming down this belt like so and go into this crafter. However, we also need to feed dirt into this crafter up here. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and use a tunnel right here to split into 2. So we're going to have another belt right here and then another tunnel. And this is going to split any stacks that come is going to just split in half. One's going to go down on this belt and one's going to continue on this belt. And then we're going to put a belt down here, just like so. And then we can put a funnel on the side of the belt here. And we want to make sure that this little arrow here that you see, we're going to make sure that that is pointing outwards. That means that objects from up here are going to go down there. Then we're just going to extend this belt 1, 2 out like that. And then we're going to place another belt right here, just like so. And then we're going to place a gearbox here. Now we're going to bring this belt out 1 like that. And then to give these 2 belts power, we're going to connect this belt to this belt using encased chain drives. Then over here in the front, we're gonna put another few shafts, remove this one, and then go up like this with our belt. Then we can right click to extend the belt like so. And now we need a funnel on our mechanical crafter. And once again, you want to make sure that the arrow is pointing inwards to the crafter here and not outwards like this, because we're inputting items into the crafter. Then I'm going to put an encased chain drive right here just to connect these two belts so that they also share power. And then finally, I'm going to place a spruce trapdoor up here and just close that. And the reason for this is because otherwise we might have dirt just flying off here. So to prevent that, we need a block here just to kind of catch the dirt if this is full. And now we're ready to test our setup, so we can turn on our power again, and we can see that the belts are rotating the wrong way. So in order to fix that, we can right click on our speed controller here and change either up or down here to reverse the direction. So we're going to go up, and that's going to reverse the direction for us, and now our belts are moving the correct direction. Now we can throw some dirt on here just to see that the system is working. So as it goes into the tunnel there, it should split into 2 stacks, which we have seen that it does. And then the dirt will go into our mechanical crafter, and we should now get some coarse dirt here. Yeah, there we go. We get 4 coarse dirt every time. And you can see that it is going up on this side as well. Now we're only getting 1 block of dirt here every time because we have this funnel here. If you use the brass funnel, we could get stacks, but we don't really want stacks. It's better off doing 1 by 1 here. Now, however, we're not handling the coarse dirt here, so that's going to be what we fix in the next step. Now, to build a part that converts coarse dirt into regular dirt, we're going to put a chute right here, and then we're going to place 2 hoppers like so, and another 2 hoppers like so, and another 2 hoppers here, as well as 2 hoppers just like so. Then we're going to place our mechanical drill here, another one right here, and another one right here. We need to flip that, and then another one right here. Then just for decoration, I'm going to place some mud bricks right here. That's just kind of to block off that hopper that we have there. And then we're going to place a clutch on the back of each of these drills here. And then just as a temporary measure, we can place some dirt blocks here. So these are the blocks that are going to get drilled later, but for our placement, it's going to be easier to just have them there. Now we're going to place down some smart observers, and it's very important that the arrow here is pointing towards this block here. And these are going to be able to give a redstone signal if we set the filter to dirt here. They'll give a redstone signal when there's a dirt block in front of them, so it won't give a redstone signal when there's a coarse dirt block. So when we then have a plow later, these are going to be converted from coarse dirt to dirt, and we're going to detect that and activate this drill. Now we can place these all the way around, making sure that that arrow is pointing towards the dirt block, just like so. If you happen to place them wrong, then you can always rotate them like this, and then make sure to set the filter to all 4. Next, we're going to place deployers, and these are going to place through the smart observer, and they're going to be placing the coarse dirt blocks right here where we currently have a dirt block. And those also need to go all the way around like this. And then we need to hook up some power to this. So our power is going to be coming from above here. So we're going to rotate this up with a shaft right here. And then we're going to have another shaft here with some encased chain drives. That's going to bring power over to this clutch. And then we're just going to loop this power all the way around, making sure to bring power to the deployers right here, as well as all of the other clutches. And now once you're done, you should have something that looks like this. And now we're going to do a little bit of redstoning. So I'm going to use sandstone here, but you could use any block. I just like to use sandstone because it's easier to see the redstone that I'm using. But yeah, anything will work. We're going to place a redstone torch on top of our smart observer here, which is going to handle the redstone signal here. And that will transfer the signal to this block here and hit our clutch when there is no dirt block in front of it. And then we're just going to repeat that on the other 4 smart observers. And there we go. So now we have built everything for this part. Now we're going to go ahead and extend this shaft up like so, then put an encased chain drive right here. And then we'll extend this shaft so that we can place a gearbox directly above these mud bricks that are right here. And then we're going to flip this so that it's facing downwards, giving power down. And then we're going to put a mechanical bearing on the bottom of this and make sure to flip it so that the sticky part is facing straight down here. Then we're going to place some spruce planks right here, as well as a plow. And this is going to rotate around and plow all our different dirt blocks here, or our coarse dirt blocks is actually what we want to plow. And now to feed our deployers, these deployers are going to need dirt blocks or coarse dirt blocks that they're going to place. So we're going to put some chutes here, and we can kind of bring them up just like so. We have another one here. We'll just bring them up like that. However, these on the side here, I kind of want to like gather everything off to one side where we can have a vault up above. So we're going to like right click on the side of the chute like this. And that allows us to like bring them in closer. And we can do the same one on this one. So we'll just place a regular chute. And then I'm just going to right click on the side here. And we can kind of bring them up sideways into the same vault here. All right, so now we can go ahead and place our item vault just like this. And it's just going to be a 2x2 by 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to go ahead and place a belt right here. And this is actually going to bring dirt or coarse dirt from here into our vault. And then we're going to have another belt just like so. And we can extend this down to our mechanical crafter right there. Now, in order to give this belt some power, we're going to put a gearbox right here and then put a shaft inside of this belt just so that it connects like so. And then we're going to place another shaft right here and a gearbox like so, as well as an encased chain drive so that we can give power to the rest of our system from this system. And then up here, we need another gearbox just to give these two power to each other. And finally, we need a funnel right here on the vault to accept our coarse dirt. All right, let's test this and see if it works. So we can see our coarse dirt here being generated. And then it goes on to the belt here and all the way up to our vault, hopefully. And now it should go down here and it should get plowed. There we go. And as soon as it gets plowed, it's turning into dirt and we're drilling it. So it seems like it's working and our dirt is then ending up down here. So we have a working dirt farm. Now to make some mud, we need to connect another belt here. So I'm just going to put down 2 shafts like this and then a belt. Then we're going to have a brass funnel right here, and that's going to pull from this belt when there's dirt here. Now we don't always want it to pull, so we're going to put a smart observer right here. And then we're going to put a redstone torch right here. In this way, we're going to turn off the funnel when there's no block up here, meaning that we need to fill this slot here. So as long as there's a block here, then this funnel is going to remain open. We can also go ahead and place a dirt filter here just in case. Now I'm going to go ahead and place 2 shafts right here. And we're going to have another belt that goes out just like so. I'm going to have it go over this way. Now here in the back, we're going to put a gearbox right here and another gearbox. Then we're going to connect a shaft from this belt over to this gearbox and then another shaft going down this way, just like so. So now we're getting power to this belt and to this belt as well. And we can also turn this on to double check that our belts are going in the correct direction before we continue on with the next step. If you have a different orientation to your entire build compared to me, then you may have to play around with the gearboxes a little bit. You know, maybe adding like another gearbox here or something like that in order to get your correct rotation. Then over here, we're going to place 2 shafts like that in order to go up a little bit. And we're going to extend that one time, and then we're going to place a basin right here. And this basin is going to receive the dirt blocks. And then we're going to use this basin with some water in order to make mud. Then we'll just use 2 encased chain drives here in order to give that belt some power. Then back here, we're just going to place down some stone blocks like this so we can have a place to put some water. And this middle block here is going to be an infinite water source. So we can take a fluid pipe here, and then we can put a pump directly below it like so. And make sure that the arrow here is pointing upwards. You don't want it to be pointing down like this. It should be up like that. And then we can take a cog and we'll put it on the right side right here. We'll put a gearbox right there and rotate it so that our cog is getting some power. And then we're going to place another shaft here with a cog and then another cog just like so. And then we can go ahead and hold a mixer and just right click in our basin like so. And that's going to place it down right there. And now if we activate this, we should see water being pumped into this basin. And we're now mixing it with dirt in order to create mud. Now on our basin, we can go ahead and put a mud filter on here just to ensure that this is the block being generated. And then we're going to place another basin here and the mud should automatically go into this basin. Then I'm going to take some jungle planks and just place them back here. And then we're going to have a chute going up just like that. And then we're going to have a brass funnel dumping into this basin. Once again, make sure that you turn the arrow so that it's facing out like this. Now, in order to make packed mud, we have to mix mud with wheat. So we need a place to store some wheat. So I'm going to put a item vault up here and I'm just going to make it a 3x3 like this and then a 2 wide just so that I can hold some wheat there. And when wheat is deposited in here, it's automatically going to go down into these chutes and then out in this brass funnel into the basin. And now we need a quick and simple wheat farm. So I'm just going to go down like this. And then here in the middle, we're just going to dig out a little bit of a hole. Just like this, and there we can place a water wheel. Now on top of this water wheel, we're going to put a clutch, and then we're going to put a mechanical bearing on top of that. Then on top of our mechanical bearing, we're going to put a barrel, just like so. And then going out from that, we're going to have some stairs, as well as some spruce planks, just like this, and we're going to go 4 wide. And then we're going to put some mechanical harvesters on the side like so, and then we just glue everything together just by right clicking, making sure that we connect everything. And of course, we also need a portable storage interface on top. Make sure to flip it so that this kissy part is facing straight up. And then we glue that to our barrel. Now you can also make sure that this is set to only place anchor when destroyed. This prevents your crops from getting destroyed when this is stopping because it's going to like replace any blocks that are under the harvesters or the blocks here. And then we can go ahead and place down some water. We'll actually need a little bit of dirt there just to make sure that the water is going around in one direction. And we'll place that down and now our harvesters are working. And we can also place down a lever here just so that we can stop the contraption whenever we want to. And now we just need to put down some water. So we can probably put a dirt block here, another dirt block there, and I'll put down a little bit of water here as well. I'll put another dirt block here and some water just so that we have, water for our farm. And then we can go ahead and hoe all of these blocks here. And then we can go ahead and plant down our wheat seeds as well. Now we're going to use a belt to connect our farm to our basin over here. So let's go ahead and put a belt right here, just like so. And then we'll put the funnel right there. And we'll just go ahead and extend this all the way over like so. And then right here, we're going to put a portable storage interface. We can get rid of this one and we'll flip that one so it's facing down. Now it's always going to be connected. Sometimes this won't animate properly, but it is connected when it's like this. However, yeah, sometimes there's like rendering issues. Maybe I'll reload and it'll get fixed. But we can go ahead and place another funnel here. And I want some way to get rid of the seeds here because we're going to get both wheat and seeds from this farm. So maybe here. Yeah, I'll dig down 1, 2, 3. I think you need to be 3 blocks down to be like safe with lava. So I'll place it down there. And then we're going to put a chute above it like so. And we're just going to bring this chute all the way up like this. And we can remove that one. And we'll place a funnel on the side here. And we'll place wheat seeds here as the filter. So any seeds that are coming out of this farm should go down into the funnels here. And we can also put wheat as a filter on here just so that we don't accidentally get some seeds in here and mess up our production system. Now we're going to assume that our farm is actually working. So I'm just going to throw some wheat on here like that. And we can go ahead and test our system to see if we're actually going to get packed mud. Oh, I've actually forgotten to put a mechanical mixer right there, just like so. And we do need to bring some power over to it. So to bring power over to this mixer, I'm just going to go back here and we're going to use an encased chain drive once again. Now we'll flip this one up just like so. We'll put a cog right here and just another 2 cogs like so, and make sure that this one actually gets flipped properly like that. And now this mixer should be working. However, we have not given power to our belt up here. So we're going to put a shaft right here, and we're just going to bring that across over to this belt like so. Now we can see that our belt is running. However, it is going the wrong way. So we'll remove this shaft here and we'll put a gearbox there instead. And now this belt is going the correct way, and all our wheat will go over to this vault. And now we should see that the wheat goes down into the basin here, and we'll get some packed mud. And there we go, it's working. Now our final step of this farm is to make some mud bricks. So we're gonna put a shaft down here, and we're gonna use another belt. And we're gonna bring it up like so. And then we're gonna get power from our encased chain drive right here. And we can see that it's turning the wrong way here. So we do need a gearbox in order to bring that power over, just like so. And we can see that items are just flying off the belt. So we're going to put a block there just to block that. Then we can go ahead and put a gearbox down here with a shaft over this way, and then a cog down here with another cog on top like so. And that's going to bring power up to our mechanical crafters, which are going to be right here, just like this. And then we're going to flip this so that it actually inserts to the right here, where we're going to have a vault. And then we can place a funnel over here on this side. And we want to make sure that the arrow is pointing inwards like this, so it's actually taking in items. And by default, you can see that it took in one item here, but on the back here, we can actually right click like this, and it's going to combine all of these crafters into one thing. And now it's going to fill everything from one funnel. And there we go. Now we can see that we're getting some mud bricks there on the ground. So our farm is now pretty much complete. We just need some item vaults to store it in. So I'm just going to go ahead and do like a 3x3 once again. And 1, 2, maybe like that. We'll have a vault where everything gets stored. Now we should see that it goes into the vault here. There we go. And now we can see 4 mud bricks in our item vault. Actually 8 mud bricks already. Interesting. So our farm is basically working. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of building magic in order to, like fix this up, make it look a little bit nicer, and then we'll be back to look at the final build. And here we are. So this is the final build. And I went ahead and I used packed mud bricks, and some jungle planks to kind of build up the walls of this build. And you do have some crate stuff like sticking through the walls because it was a little bit tight to fit everything in here. But I tried to iterate a little bit and, make some variations on the different walls and stuff. It was very difficult to fit everything inside this build, so the build is a little bit large, but I think it looks good overall. You have the mangrove trapdoors here, which adds a little bit of texture to the build, and some mangrove fence as well. I also have the jungle plank fence, or just jungle fence, I guess, and jungle fence gates here to add some detailing with some lanterns here and there. And overall, I think it turned out really well. I also decorated the farm a little bit out here so that it looks a little bit nicer. And I also put up like a little, veranda or whatever you call it down here with a blueprint with some of the different blocks you might produce in this building. And if we go inside, I decided to go with birch logs for the floor. And I haven't really done much interior decoration because this is a one-day build, and this is all I had time for in one day. But yeah, as you come in, you do have the control panel here, so you can see that we're using, we have 512. It's going up and down a little bit. So I think this goes all the way to like max sometimes. It looks a little bit scary, but it's basically those drills over there, like activating and deactivating, that's making this go up and down. So it's kind of fun to look at. But we are running at 32 RPM. If you added more like water wheels or maybe a steam engine to this and just input the power here on the side, like in this, as long as you input the power here, you can actually make this farm go up to 256, I think. There's not really a limit to how fast you can run this farm, and that will produce more mud bricks quicker. However, I prefer to just run this at a moderate speed, so a 32 is good enough for me. Now, you can't run this at less than 32 because then the mechanical mixers will not work. I do link a free schematic in my description, so pretty much every video I make, you have free builds. So make sure to check that out. It will be in a pinned comment or in the description on every single video that I have pretty much. If you're importing the schematic, then you might have some issues with belts. You might have to like pick them up and place them just to make them work. But otherwise, everything should be working. Oh yeah, you do have to place like water in all the places that I had water. So the water wheels and the farm out here, those need water as well. You might also have to tweak some of the stockpile switches here or the threshold switches, just to make sure they're working. I did add these just so that we have like an on-off switch automatically. So this will like turn on a redstone signal at 530, and that signal is over here. So you have mud brick, and that's actually going to activate the clutch, which is over here. So we shut down the entire factory if we get full on mud bricks. I think I also have another sensor up here, which is checking the wheat level. So if we get too many stacks of wheat here, the farm outside will also shut down using this redstone link here. And I also used a large water wheel down there just to make this a little bit slower because I thought it was a little bit fast before. Oh, and we can now see that these are actually kissing, so that is also working. But if we head inside again, we can now see that we can either right click here to get like a stack of mud bricks here. And if we have a lot of mud bricks and you just want to pick them up, you can just stand here and like let them drop on the ground. Now I didn't have that many mud bricks, so it was only like half a stack that dropped there until our vault got empty. But if you had like, you know, let's say you had 500 stacks of mud bricks, then you could just activate that and stand here and let all the stacks like come to you. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do give it a like and consider subscribing if you'd like to see more of my content. I hope you have a wonderful week and I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Alright, we can now test our setup by flipping this lever here and giving everything power. And we now see that we have the rotation completely run. What? There's nothing giving this power. Everything's cursed right now.